how much does it actually cost to get a no, or to get hung up on, or to get told, I got to talk to my spouse, or can I call you back?
For me, just my ego, but I didn't put a dollar amount behind it. I said nothing.
The answer to that question is at $1,700.
Why is that?
So between all three of our locations, we have served under 5,000 clients. Amongst those 5,000 clients, our average revenue per clean is just over $250. And on average, clients get 7 cleans from us. And so when we multiply $250 times 7 cleans, that makes the lifetime value of each of our home cleaning clients $1,700. So that means each time someone doesn't become a client of ours, it costs us $1,700.
And my ego.
Every 5 prospects that don't become customers, that's $10,000.
That stinks. How do we stop that from happening?
That is exactly what we're talking about today. And so the goal for today is to share how to turn no's, like I think about it, can I talk to my spouse, into people reading their credit card to you over the phone. That's not compliant. Sending them an invoice and then paying their credit card invoice compliantly.
What does it take to actually get good at sales?
Yeah, I think that's a loaded question. So the reality is like there is no silver bullet at being great at sales. It's a 1,000 BB approach, and it's all directed at a single outcome.
And that sounds like more work than one silver bullet, Logan.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work for sure.
Okay, so I think you have a natural ability to sell. And oftentimes I find myself frustrated because selling does not come as natural to me.
How long have we been together, Katie?
12 years.
And speaking my birthday month, my birthday is coming up, but currently, how old am I?
37.
Okay. So that means that when we met, I was 25. Is that right?
37 minus 12 is 25. Yes.
Okay. So let me take you back to when I was 22 years old. Okay. I had just graduated college, got my degree in exercise science, and I got my first real job as a personal trainer in this huge state of the art 70,000 square foot facility. You've been in there before. It's called The Ridge. And the guy who hired me, his name was Josh. He was the fitness director. I remember him calling me into his office just a couple days after he had hired me, probably to onboard, I assume, right? And at the end of our meeting, I remember him asking me this question that was like, it was so off-putting. And he said, Logan, have you ever read a book on sales? I was like, no, of course not. Dude, I read a lot of books in college the last 5 years getting this exercise science degree. I did that so I didn't have to become a salesperson. And then, Katie, do you know what he did?
No. What did he do?
He handed me this book on sales. And you want to know what I did with that book, Katie?
Didn't read it because you were done with college?
Bro, so I'm done with school. I'm done reading. Okay. And for 2 years, I was a personal trainer at that gym, and I struggled to grow my clientele because I refused to sell.
Oh, can you own a business and not sell?
I wasn't owning a business at the time. That was just as a personal trainer. So but I struggled as a personal trainer. But then when I left that job to start my own gym, yeah, I struggled for another 3 years because I also refused to sell there too. Right? And so yeah, the reality was like I only wanted to sell what I wanted, but I failed to sell people what they wanted. I
Okay, what
call
did the people want?
I'll tell you what they wanted. They wanted, in this specific case, they wanted to lose weight, but I wanted to sell something else. I wanted to sell strength. I wanted to sell healthiness. 'Cause weight loss is whatever.
What eventually changed your mind?
Yeah, Alex changed my mind. I remember getting on the sales call with him. This was on the sales call. He was selling me Gym Launch, and he started telling me about the Gym Launch system. And right away, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I understand how this is going to work." However, I had one objection. I said, "Alex, I don't want some weight loss, dude." You want to know his response, Katie?
What was it?
You will now. And that was it. He just brushed off. And then boom. And I was like, it was at that moment, I was like, okay. I the choice was made to go from a selfish seller, where I only want to sell what I wanted, to becoming a serving seller, to where I started giving the people what they wanted. And Gym Launch was quite literally my crash course in learning how to sell.
Oh, I have so many memories of you learning how to sell. I
Like
listened
what?
to you taking showers, singing to yourself the script, role playing with me, Kobe even stepping in and role playing a little bit. Yeah, you talked nonstop. You scripted nonstop.
Yeah, I had no other choice. I had to learn this thing really fast. From the time I signed up, from the time I did my first sale was like 5 days. And so I immersed myself in the whole thing. And even on my commute to and from the gym, I would practice the script in the vehicle on the way there, even after my sales call, or yeah, even on the way home. This is before I did the sales calls or the sales meetings. I would do it on my way home from the gym. I just like trying to learn the script and learn this process as much as I possibly could. I listened to sales recordings as well. During the work day when I was actually working, I would listen to the sales recordings that Alex had inside the Gym Launch modules. Yeah, just trying to figure out how to learn as fast as I could.
And what actually did you implement that got you better at sales the fastest?
Yeah. Ultimately, I sat down belly to belly with 221 people in 30 days.
221 people.
In 30 days. Yeah.
Okay. How many of them did you close?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually pulled this. I have this data because yeah. So here it is. I can see here. I sat down with 221 people. I closed 144 of them. However, almost 40 of them backed out. And like when this started happening, I was so confused. Like, people would sign up, they'd give me their credit card, and then they would call back later or the next day, or just not show up to onboarding, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this." Or their credit card would bounce, it would not work. So yeah, end up selling about 105 people, which is 48%.
Okay. 48%, first 30 days. 105 people closed out of 221. That's decent. What was your experience over those first 30 days?
Yeah, despite the fact that we made 50 grand in 30 days, which was more money than I made the entire previous year before, I can still feel the anxiety that I felt when I woke up every single morning, just anxious, anxious.
What were you so anxious about?
The unknown. I had never done this before. I was like, I guess probably just, yeah, I didn't know. What if someone asked me a question that I didn't know the answer to? What if someone realized I had never done this before? And I honestly think that's why I avoided growth and sales for so long, because I was afraid of the unknown. I was afraid of not having the answers. I was afraid of rejection.
And how did you ultimately get over that fear?
Logic.
But fear is so powerful. What do you mean, logic?
Yeah. I actually just realized the best sales tactics just came down to just telling the truth, being vulnerable, accepting that the person I was talking to wasn't perfect, neither was I, and neither was what I was selling.
That's interesting. Expand on that.
Yeah. Ultimately, I believed that the goal was to close 100%, but then I started to realize that the goal wasn't to sell every single person. My goal was to solve a specific problem for a specific type of person, which meant that the people who didn't have the problem or who weren't the type of person, I should just not take their money.
That brings back the selfish versus service leader. If it was a selfish leader, you were just worried about the close, but a service leader, you actually cared about the other person's problem.
Yeah. And
Mm.
you want to know what's really interesting, Katie?
What?
I got so much better at sales when I started looking to tell people no.
Interesting. Okay, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, like I said, when I became so focused on identifying their problem and then connecting my service to their solution, if the person didn't have that problem that my service could solve, I simply just told them that I couldn't help them. It was weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you know what was more interesting was that these people would then start selling me on how they were a good fit for my freaking service.
Totally turn the tables around.
It was so weird. It was so weird.
And for those people that actually had a problem that you could solve, what'd you do with them?
Yeah. I became convicted that I could actually help this person.
Okay. What does conviction look like?
I think what it actually looks like is that every time that I got met with resistance, whether that be with an obstacle or an objection, I just got into solution mode. I just was like, I got to help this person. So I found a solution. And then I would propose a solution. And then after I proposed a solution, then I would just ask, can I help you?
I love that.
Yeah.
Solving people's problems.
It was really weird.
Amazing.
Yeah. Totally
Fitness.
transformed, totally transformed how I thought about sales.
And the crazy part, when you transition that service, that selfish selling to service selling, you can solve those problems. You're actually listening for those problems and extracting the problems and providing solutions.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
awesome. And you can sell weight loss then, because that's what the person needed. And they could gain strength while that was the service that you actually offered. Amazing.
Exactly.
Outside of selling fitness, what else have you sold?
Yeah, so that was my first thing I ever sold was fitness. And then about 5 months after I joined Gym Launch, Alex actually asked me to work for him. And I'm not going to say no to that. And so I started selling gym owners into Alex's, we'll call it his premium program, which was just which was called Gym Legacy.
How much did Gym Legacy cost?
It changed a few times, but at the end of when I was selling it, the investment to join Gym Legacy was $699 per week for 3 years. That was a
69 times 200, no, 24, 36. No, 699 times 52 times 3. Let's make this
yeah,
math easier.
yeah, it's over $100,000.
Dang. Sounds expensive.
Let me ask you this: if you were to spend $100,000 over the course of 3 years, but you made an additional $300,000 in your business in the first 12 months, does that still sound expensive?
So I can pay the 100K over 3 years and I can get 300K back in the first year. No, that sounds like a great deal.
Yeah, exactly. And so while the price tag initially seems high, the potential outcome was much higher.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else have you sold?
I honestly think that the best thing, my greatest sell, was honestly you. I was able to sell you on becoming my wife, my life partner. I was able to sell you on leaving your job and going full commitment into entrepreneurship. I sold you on leaving your hometown, the place that you had grown up and lived for 35 years of your life. My most challenging sell was selling our daughter, Kobe, your biological daughter, on being a father figure in her life since she was 4 years old. I sold you on delaying gratification and putting $100,000 in the bank before we had our youngest daughter, Lainey. And then I sold you on taking that money and investing it into real estate. And I sold you on starting this cleaning business in 2020.
It's quite some selling.
I think those are I think those are my other big sales that I've made.
Were those easier or harder than gym launch sales?
I don't know if they were easier or harder. They were more impactful for sure. They made the selling of the gym launch easier because like selling you was the domino to all those other ones becoming easier sales.
That's awesome. I would say I am also sold on you, so it worked out. So let's talk a little bit about the cleaning business I was sold on starting in 2020. Do you remember the first sale you did?
Maybe not
The
the
very
first.
first one.
I don't know if it was the very. I don't remember the very first one. I don't know.
You sold a deep clean for, I can't remember the gal's name, but it was for mom.
Oh, the real estate agent.
Yes, the mom was a real estate agent in
The
town.
mom, yeah, and she was like our videographer for a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember. Yeah, I forget her name still, but I remember getting on the phone with her and asking her all the questions I could think of. I didn't have a script at the time. I was just talking pretty much. I didn't have a pricing calculator. I had never cleaned a home in my freaking life, and so I was just like, I was shooting in the dark, quite literally shooting in the dark. I think I charged like $300 for a deep clean. I remember her house was like 3,000 square feet.
No, no. Her house was 3,500 square feet and it
Oh,
was definitely only $225. I think you sold a deep clean on her house for. It
you
was it was silly.
you would probably know better than I would because you actually clean the homes. But yeah, our sales process now, over 5 years later, has transformed a lot. And it's transformed because you know what? We made many mistakes.
That's very true. And today, those mistakes are honestly, I think, assets now. So
Yeah, true.
today, Logan, I'm going to ask you some questions. I prepped some questions for you, and I'm going to have you rank every sales decision from worst to best to build $1 million home cleaning business.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Should be fun.
Cool. So for those of you that were here last week, a ranking scale stays the same. So S is superior, and then A, B, C, D. A is great, B is good, C is okay, and D is, I guess, a notch above failing, but we're going to call it failing for for this sake. Okay. Okay, the first question. You're going to rank the best strategy for pricing to build $1 million cleaning business.
Okay.
First one, charge what other people in your market charge.
Yeah. C tier. The problem with charging what everyone else is charging your market is that if you do what everybody else is doing, you'll get the same results as other people. And 93% of business owners never reach $1 million. So if you charge what they charge, then you'll end up like them, not having $1 million business.
Okay. So if I charge what other people charge in the market, it's just an okay option.
C tier.
C tier. Next, what if you charge the lowest in the market? Figure out what everybody else is charging and then charge less.
D tier. Charging the lowest is a race to zero. It's the fastest path to working a lot, making no money, and being very frustrated. Katie, one of the first people who we had an opportunity to coach, her name was Tamara. Do you remember her?
I do, yeah.
Do you remember one of the very last conversations that I had with her? Do you remember what her idea was?
Yeah, and my gut dropped the moment that she said it. She said that she was going to operate on donation only basis.
Yeah. Essentially, like, clean for free if the clients didn't want to pay her. And I remember her telling me that plan. I was like, it's a high probability of it not working. What do you guys think happened?
I bet she did not grow $1 million cleaning business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a race to the bottom, guys. And if you quite literally understand that money is oxygen, and without oxygen, your business does not breathe. It's the fastest way to kill a business.
Okay. So don't charge the least in your market. D tier, failing. We don't want to fail. What about charging premium prices for your market?
That's the S tier. Guys, the best businesses make the most money. I want you guys to think about all the businesses you know, the Apples, the Googles, the Facebooks, right? The Coca-Colas, the ones that have been around for a long time, the insurance companies. You know them because they make the most money, right? And the fastest path to making more money is charging premium prices. Premium prices also attract better clients because you charge more. You can also pay your employees better as well. And better paid employees attract better talent. Better talent plus better customers equals a better business.
Okay, sold. Charge premium prices for your market. Still selling me. This is great. All right, next question. We're going to rank the best way to quote new clients to build $1 million cleaning business.
Okay.
So, first one is in-person walkthroughs.
Yeah. C tier. I have honestly never done a single in-person walkthrough in my life. And while doing belly to belly sales, like in-person walkthroughs, it's probably the most comfortable for people. It's extremely inefficient. You will need to perform 100 cleans per week to build $1 million business. So if you want to build $1 million business in less than 30 years, you cannot do in-person walkthroughs. Like the gas, the driving around town, like it's so inefficient. C tier.
C tier. Second, ranking to deliver quotes to new clients to build $1 million cleaning business using a square footage calculator.
Yeah. So this is actually a calculator that we have currently inside our mentorship. A tier. Because being able to give a prospect an accurate quote without stepping foot into their home, that is very efficient. In our businesses, each location, we perform between 40 to 50 quotes per week. Per
Mm.
week, right? And so the square footage calculator is a tool that allows you to actually double, triple, or even quadruple your sales volume. And that's actually how you can grow a home cleaning business to $1 million in less than 2 years. A tier.
A tier square footage calculator. Okay. What about an AI quote calculator?
S tier. Because now the salesperson can see the price for the prospect in just moments. And this allows the salesperson to focus on listening to find the prospect's problem, being able to focus on the solution to their problem rather than trying to scan the square footage calculator for the price. It gives them their attention back. And that AI quote calculator will be released this week inside the home cleaning mentorship.
Ooh, sign me up for that. I want to be able to serve people and listen. So, sounds great.
Yeah. Our team has been using it last week, and yeah, it was just like, it was so good. It was so much better. So we'll be releasing it to the
Yeah,
mentorship.
it's great because you really do have a limited amount of attention. And while you're delivering a quote, and I think that's why people like the in person is because you have to be intentional. You have to be present. You can't be like doing something else, like finding the price. AI quote calculator. I love that. Just frees up attention to listen,
Yeah.
serve
So
the
yeah,
person.
exactly.
Okay, moving on. Next question. Rank what you sell prospects. Rank what you sell prospects on, why they should choose you versus anyone else in your market. So
This is
you're
good.
selling the prospect on you versus them. So option one is sell them on how cheap you are.
D tier. And the reason why is because clients don't want cheap. Clients do want the best deal, however. They want to get much more than they give. But the goal is not to lower how much they give, it's to raise how much they get.
More value. Okay, D tier. Don't sell them on how cheap you are. Okay. So selling prospects on why they should choose you over anyone else in the market. Should we sell them on how professional we look, our nice cars, our uniforms, our branded website?
Yeah, I'm gonna rate this a or rank this a C tier because the reality is that prospects don't care. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about your logo. They don't care. Okay. What they do care about is the speed, consistency, and reliability, and how you make them feel when you communicate with them, or even better, how they feel when you do not communicate with them.
Service selling. Love it.
Yeah. Again, who's the spotlight on? Is it on you or is it on them?
But my branded cars look so nice and my website's slick and it's all my
Yeah.
pretty colors. They should care about that.
Selfish,
Makes sense.
selfish selling.
All right. How about why the prospect should choose you versus anyone else in the market? Should we sell them on how you and your team cleans?
I'm gonna say B tier here. So I do believe that being convicted that your team can do a great job, it is important. Okay. Cleaning is the service that people are technically buying. Okay. But cleaning also is something that anyone can do. And everyone on here is proof of it. There's not a single person in here that went to cleaning school, has a cleaning degree, or has spent your whole life training to be a cleaner. And so if you're trying to separate yourself from other people in your marketplace, selling people on how well you or your team cleans, it's a B tier value.
Interesting. Okay. That makes sense though. All right. Why they should choose you versus anyone else in the market. Should you sell them on your consistency, reliability, and reputation?
Yeah. This is S tier. This is the most valuable thing that you can give a prospect is to get them to believe that you will do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it every single time.
Awesome. I truly believe that is accurate.
Yeah.
Even over the outcome of the clean, some of our experiences, even myself, when I was cleaning, wasn't really a great cleaner. The outcome wasn't ideal, but the way that you make the person feel and you show up and you put a smile on your face, 100%. That's what the clients value is consistency, reliability, and the feeling.
Yeah. An experience. So we call it a 5-star experience, not a 5-star cleaning.
I love that. All right, next, we're going to rank the best way to get clients more committed. How do we get people to increase their commitment to allowing us to serve them?
Okay.
Should we charge after the clean, zero commitment required on the front end?
I'm gonna rank this a C tier. This has little incentive for clients to actually follow through on a clean. And so if it becomes slightly inconvenient, oh, I forgot I had an appointment today, or can we reschedule or cancel because money got tight all of a sudden from the last time I talked to you, which was just 2 days ago. You just it doesn't create committed clients. And the problem with not having committed clients is that now you have cleaners who also have no clean for the day and no income, which shows your lack of commitment to your team. C tier.
Love that. You need to be committed to your team, so let's not do that one. Okay, best way to get clients more committed. How about charging a deposit up front and pay the remainder of the clean after the clean?
Yeah, this is B tier. This definitely creates commitment from the client to follow through with the clean because they already have some skin in the game. And so the bigger the deposit, the bigger the commitment. And if you actually make the deposit non-refundable, it might be borderline A tier. It's pretty good.
Yeah. If they have skin in the game, they're probably not going to cancel on you last minute. They want that. They're in it. I like that. Okay. More commitment. How about monthly subscriptions for clients? So they pay once a month and that pays for all of the consecutive cleans for that month.
Yeah. This is A tier. This is actually something that we do in one of our locations. And yeah, having clients being billed ahead of time for all their cleans for the month, it definitely creates committed clients. Clients rarely cancel cleans because they've already paid for them. And this becomes really strong if clients try to reschedule their appointments with less than 48 hours, then they just lose their clean, which means they paid for it and they don't get it. And that happens actually quite often, but it just creates committed clients because they're really committed to not canceling rescheduling because they have the natural consequence is that they will pay for something and then they will not get the service. So it definitely creates committed clients. A tier.
A tier. I love A tier. A tier and S tier are my favorite. All right, let's rank the most valuable clients. This one's interesting. So I'm curious to see how you rank these. The most valuable clients, ranking one-time clients. Where do they rank?
Yeah, so like a one-time clean.
Yeah, whether it's just I need a move out or
Yeah,
I just am looking for a clean before my party.
cool. B tier. These cleans are actually great to fill schedules. They tend to be bigger cleans. So if they are like a move out clean or like a deep clean, and here's the key to these. The reason why some people avoid these is because they're like, oh, it's too much work for one clean. But in my experience, with having served almost 5,000 clients, a lot of these people end up rebooking additional cleans. So they
Okay.
might start out as a one-time clean, but they are quite literally our pool of people who we eventually can get to book additional cleans. And some people eventually do get into like onto a consistent reoccurring schedule. So they're also just great people. Like the one-time cleans are also great people to send internal marketing messages to as well. So B tier.
Okay. One-time cleans B tier.
Yeah.
How about monthly recurring cleans?
Yeah. I'm actually gonna rate this the same. I think I see monthly recurring clients and one-time cleans very similar. I see it B tier. Yeah. They're great cleans. It's great that you have them on the schedule already, but they're pretty much like one-time cleans. And so I actually think a great way to make these clients more valuable is to upsell them more frequency.
Yeah, these guys tend to be the ones that forget that their cleaning is coming. They're like too far apart.
Yeah. We treat them like they should know, but we should treat them more like a one-time clean, where it's like the first time every time.
That's a good point. I like that. B tier. Okay, monthly is B tier. Okay, how about a weekly client? Somebody who signs up for a weekly service.
Yeah. A tier, right? Getting a weekly client is like hitting a home run in baseball, getting four sales in one. However, this will also will be your smallest group of your recurring clients. They will bring your average revenue per client up tremendously. And so the only reason that they're on S tier is because it's almost like the game of baseball. Is like the team who hits the most home runs generally actually doesn't score the most home runs because they usually strike out the most. So weekly clients, they're not going to be clients who make up the majority of your recurring, but they will be the most valuable ones of your recurring.
Okay. And then how about biweekly clients?
S tier, right? These will be the largest amount of revenue for your business. And so what I mean by that is if you have 200 clients paying $200 a month for a monthly clean, that's how much, Katie?
Oh, math. Two times two is four. $40,000.
Yeah. Now, if you just had those same 200 clients, but they were now on a biweekly service, so now they're paying $400 a month.
Double. $80,000 business right there.
Yeah. It's the same number of clients, but double the revenue. And if you guys actually look at your existing cleaning businesses, there's a high probability that you actually will see that. You'll see that you have the same amount of revenue for your biweekly and monthly clients, but you'll see you have half the number of clients on biweekly than you do on monthly.
Okay. So maybe upselling the monthlies to more frequent services,
There you go.
increase their value.
I've seen that in three of our companies. That's actually the way the numbers run.
Okay.
These
So biweekly, S tier.
the best.
Weekly, right below it, A tier. The only reason that they're A and not S is because there's just not enough of them. If there was more of them, they could be S.
Yeah,
And then monthly and one time, we treat them the same and they're B tier.
exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's rank the best way to get prospects to say yes on sales calls.
Okay.
Ranking number one, you could tell them how long you've been in business.
Yeah. This is a D tier. The idea that the length that you've been in business The idea comes from a place of like, you should trust me. I've been in business for 20 years. But like, that's not the case anymore. This is a new marketplace. This is different times. And ultimately, selling them on you, on how long you've been in business for, it takes a spotlight off of them, the person who they care the most about.
Interesting. Service versus selling. This is circling back so many times today. Okay. Care about them more than you care about yourself. Cool. All right. Best way to get a prospect to say yes on a sales call. What if I share with them how well I clean?
C tier. Again, selling cleaning is a great way to get prospects to want to get the phone call with you to go find other people who also clean, which is pretty much anyone who's got a vacuum. Okay. Guys, cleaning is a commodity. And Katie, do you know what commodity starts with?
Is this a trick question?
No.
Like the letter?
Yeah.
C.
Yeah. And that's why you trying to sell how well you clean is C tier.
Okay. I like that. Commodity C tier. Okay. What if I want a prospect to say yes and I share my reviews and testimonials with them?
Yeah, I think I would prefer, so I'll say B tier. I'll say B tier. And I'll say I would prefer that the prospect had already seen my reviews and testimonials before they got on a sales call, for sure. And then I would definitely use stories of current clients who remind me of the prospect I'm talking to help the prospect believe that we have solved people, we have solved people's problems who are just like them, and they're still currently still doing business with us. So that's where I would use the idea of sharing reviews and testimonials is sharing stories. But the idea of actual reviews and testimonials, my preference would be for them to already see that stuff through my marketing. So that's why I'm going to call it B tier.
I like that. Again, like going back to service versus selfish selling is you're actually listening enough to them to relate them to another client story. But you have to be able to listen to do that. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I want more prospects to say yes, what if I just ask them more questions about themselves?
S tier. Asking a lot of questions to try to understand the prospect's problem, it actually creates confidence for you to ask for the sale and for them to believe you understand what their problem is. And the more clarity that you have on the prospect's problem and how your service can solve their problem, the more times you're willing to ask. And the more clarity that they have on that you can solve their problem and the chance of you solving it are high, the least times you'll have to ask. But ultimately, the number of yeses you get will be equivalent to the number of asks that you make.
More questions, more yeses. I love that.
Yeah. If you guys want to take one thing from this entire call, that's probably the thing to take. That's the domino.
And the only way that you can ask more is if you actually serve the person and care about them and think that, try to see if you can serve them.
You know,
So good. Okay.
if you have the if you have the security in yourself as you're talking to insecure people, you'll make insecure people feel so much better when you are just willing to like, be vulnerable and be insecure in a sense of just asking questions like you don't know. You don't assume you know all the answers.
But what if I do know all the answers?
Yeah, then you remind me of a teenager. I know, mom. I know, mom. The fact that you think you know is just it's clearly obvious that you don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. I'll stop knowing it all. All right. We're going to rank the biggest reason why prospects do not book. So, why do they say no to you?
Okay.
First one, price.
Biggest reason why prospects don't book price. This is C tier. I have a belief that people never say no due to money. Let me give you an example. So, okay, Katie, tell me the most expensive vehicle you ever bought.
It was an Escalade.
An Escalade. Okay. And how much did that Escalade cost?
It was just over $100,000.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So if you saw another Escalade for $75,000, would you have bought it?
Not necessarily.
And ironically, you didn't buy it because you could have, right? Or you did buy it and then you actually upgraded, I think is what happened. So, but in this specific case, why would you have not bought that $75,000 Escalade?
I would have probably compared them. So something was different about it, whether it was wrong or miles or broken, or there's a reason why it was less expensive. So to me, that made it less valuable.
Yeah. So even though the price was lower, you still would not have bought it because the value of those things was not as high as the one that cost $100,000.
I guess so.
Okay. So now let me ask you this. Would you have bought that same Escalade for $125,000 if it would have came with unlimited fuel for as long as you owned the vehicle?
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys. And that's exactly why I'd never believe that prospects ever say no to money. They just always, they will say no to the value, the perceived value in exchange for money.
That's important. Perceived value. I love that. Okay. So people don't tell me no because of price. Darn it. Okay. Fair. C tier. C tier's price. How about lack of trust?
Yeah, this is S tier. This is the biggest reason why people will not book with you because there's three questions that you must answer in every prospect's mind before they actually commit to booking a clean. Do I trust you? Essentially is, can you do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it? Number two, can I trust your company? Are you guys legit? Do you have other happy customers? Am I going to regret this decision? And then the third question, is it actually worth it? Does your solution actually solve my problem better than the alternatives? Which the alternatives are other companies, or the biggest alternative is I'll just do it myself, or it just won't get done at all.
Okay. So lack of trust is actually why somebody tells you no. S tier. So the questions that we're looking as we go through our selling process with them and we're seeing if their problem is solvable, the questions that we can ask them is, do they trust me? Do they trust my company? And is it worth it for them?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. All right. Love that S tier, lack of trust. We can gain trust for sure. The biggest reason prospects don't book, how about a slow response time? What if I'm just slow?
Yeah. So would this be a reason why they didn't book? I'll say B tier. I think the most valuable thing in today's marketplace, it is attention. But the second most valuable thing is the speed to attention. So the slower you move, the lower your chances of getting prospects to book. And so the reality is that the average prospect, it calls a business just one time. And if you don't answer, they're not leaving a voicemail. They're not going to text you back. They're going to forget about you. They're just going to call the next closest competitor. And if that person answers, they're going to give that person money.
Okay. B tier, response time.
Yeah.
All right. What about poor follow up?
Yeah. So for the reasons that somebody would not book, poor follow-up, I'm going to say A tier, actually. This is probably the second most important reason why people don't book. And it's because I think most salespeople, most business owners, most people who are asking for money have an expectation that if prospects don't give them money right away or they don't respond to messages, that they're bad leads. But the reality is that like it takes between five, actually, here's what the math is, right? This is from Google. You guys can Google this if you want. 80% of sales are made between the fifth and 12th reach out. 80%. And most people's expectation is after number one or even number two, they give up. Some of you really hard ones out there, you guys are super hard. You'll ask three times before you give up. A, it's the
No,
second.
we can ask 12. Okay. I love that. Okay. All right. We're going to rank the biggest mistakes people make on quote calls or sales calls.
This is good.
All right. Quote too low.
Yeah. S tier. A low quote costs more than a no because low quotes make it impossible for cleaners to win. It gives them little time to do a big job. This is a recipe for both the client and the cleaner to be very upset at the end of a call, or excuse me, at the end of a clean. And not only will you probably lose the client, but you also might lose the cleaner because you're constantly quoting too low.
Okay. It's a big mistake. Don't quote too low. S
Yeah.
tier. All right. Another mistake people make on sales calls, they talk too much. Where would you rank that?
Yeah. This is a B tier. Again, the more you talk, the more you take the spotlight off the prospect. And guys, talking yourself out of the sale, it is a real thing. And everything you say should move the conversation forward to you being able to solve the person's problem. Okay. And that involves you talking only to ask questions, not to be talking about yourself and telling your stories, only if they solve the person's problem is where you should be talking about.
This is so good because I actually have this problem right now, and you've made me aware of it. I listen, I'm developing listening skills, but even when I respond, my response relates to me and how I relate to the person rather than keeping the spotlight on the other person. I try to keep it on them, but I accidentally keep it on myself more. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. People will, they think that they're trying to relate to somebody. Oh, yeah, they talk about my kids. Oh, I have a kid too who does that. I do this too. And instead of saying that, you just be like, tell me more about that kid. Tell me more about that situation. That's how you keep it on them. You actually just ask the next level question.
Yeah. You know how to relate to them because you have a kid. They don't, yeah, you need to keep it about them. That's so good. Okay.
Exactly.
I make mistakes too. I talk too much. It's great. Okay. Other mistakes people make on sales calls is assuming that the prospect can't afford it.
Yeah. This is A tier. I call this selling through your own wallet because you cannot afford it. You assume no one else can as well. This is how humans believe the world works. If they can't do it, nobody else can. And so this is not a money problem. This is actually just a mindset problem. And so it's also why the best salespeople are also the ones who also consume their product or their service that they're selling. And so, like, how to get over this is literally to pull your wallet out and pay for your own service. I really believe that wholeheartedly is the best way. Because when you say,
That's true.
when you have done it, you are more convicted to convince other people also to do it.
The real conviction.
Evidence is the real conviction. Proof.
Okay. I like that. A tier. Assume they can't afford it.
Yeah.
All right. Best way to increase your sales skills. Now that we know what not to say, don't talk too much. Don't assume they can't afford it. It's great. But how do we actually increase our skills? So, do we consume sales materials, books, courses?
I'll give this a C tier. I see consuming sales books and courses like riding a bike.
How? What do you mean?
You don't learn how to ride a bike from consuming information. You learn by doing it.
That's fair. Okay. How about role playing to increase our sales skills?
B tier. Like I mentioned earlier, like role playing by yourself with others, it really helps you prepare for the actual sales opportunities. And practice can really help you be able to be more prepared so you actually can put more focus on listening rather than trying to figure out what you need to say next.
Okay. I like that. B tier for role playing. How about selling itself, like getting on more calls?
Yeah. S tier. Like talking to live prospects is the best way to increase your sales skills, right? The difference between this and role playing is the emotions that come with getting on live calls or live sales opportunities, right? And truthfully, like how do you get really good at sales is really to be able to the ability to manage your emotions. That is the key.
Which is probably what had to happen in the 30 days that you sold 244 people belly to belly. There was lots of emotions there. All right. So actually live calls selling people because the emotions are at stake.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about a sales coach to increase sales skills?
Yeah. I say A tier. I've hired many sales coaches over the last decade. I recently just hired another sales coach, spending $3,000 a month right now on a new sales coach to help us improve our sales process. And so sales getting coaching from somebody who's actually knows what they're doing and be able to give you feedback is one of the fastest ways to get better, as long as you're also doing it with selling itself. So if you actually combine those two things, then I would put sales coaching as an S tier along with selling, but just by itself, A tier.
Okay.
All right, Katie, how many things did we rank today? How many questions did you ask me today?
9 questions.
9. And how many of them cost anything to implement?
I don't believe a single one of them.
Yeah. You guys, so everything that we covered today, responding faster, asking better questions, charging what you're worth, following up more, like none of it requires any money. It's just a decision. Okay. And the reality is, like, today you'll leave this call probably fired up, like, oh, lots of things that popped in your mind, right? But the reality is that an hour later, by the end of the day, like, you'll forget everything that we just talked about, right? You'll have cleaners will call out, clients are going to cancel, right? You're going to get told no. And then all of a sudden, like, you're like, oh, all that cool knowledge that I had earlier today just went away. Okay. And so that's not a motivation problem. That's just a accountability problem. And so if you're somebody who is not inside our home cleaning mentorship, who doesn't actually have a script, and you don't actually have a sales process, and you don't have a quote calculator, and you don't have the ability to actually post your calls and get feedback, then like now's an opportunity for you to get a sales system so you actually can grow $1 million business. And so right now I think we have 1 or 2 spots. I haven't looked. I haven't looked today, but I think we have 1 or 2 spots still available for the 30-day install challenge. And so part of that install challenge is you get access to the sales system. Okay. Sales system, follow-up system, all of it, plus the marketing to get the leads, plus the hiring system to get the leads fulfilled, the leadership system to teach everybody how to do what they're doing, all of it inside the 30 days. And so if you're ready to stop leaving $1,700 on the table every time a prospect doesn't book an initial claim with you, drop that link, or excuse me, click the link in the chat. James just dropped it, and you can apply for the 30-day install challenge. And so all you guys who are actually clients inside the Home Clean Mentorship, again, this week, I'm excited to share with you guys some of the updates to the sales system. Just one of those, by the way, there's a couple things that are coming, but one of those will be the AI quote calculator. And so just appreciate you guys for having the commitment to growing $1 million businesses. And for anybody who's not to the mentorship who wants to show your commitment to $1 million business, check out that 30-day install challenge. So, Katie, super appreciate you for saying yes to me for all those big asks that I made. And yeah,
Appreciate you selling, not giving up, not taking no for an answer.
yeah, yeah. Selling is one of the most vulnerable things you can do. It's putting yourself out there with a very high probability of getting rejected. But that rejection is the price that you pay to actually get what you want. And so the logic, it took me some time, but the logic that came around, I started to realize that. I was like, let me get some more no's. Let me go find the no's. And those no's also make me appreciate the yeses so much more. So for all you guys who have said yes to the mentorship, I really do appreciate you guys so much, because I see the no's. I feel the no's. And so for you guys who said yes, I have so much respect for you guys, and I do thank you so much. And so, Katie, appreciate you. And yeah, guys, happy Monday, happy road to a million. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.